like the fourth wave of democratization. We have three earlier waves of democratization. The third one toppled the dictators of East Europe and of South Europe, as well as Latin America and Southeast Asia. And when it came to the shores of North Africa and the Middle East, it broke. This wave broke, and this ended by late 1980s, and now in 2011 we see this pick up again of a wave of democratization, emboldening people who were repressed and oppressed by the rulers, emboldening them, empowering them, and obviously after what people saw in Tunisia and Egypt, and those were really extremely ruthless dictators, very powerful persons. Mubarak specifically had an internal army, more than 300,000 soldiers of the Central Security Forces, and they were basically geared towards his own people, towards the Egyptians, to repress them, and those were broken in the first few days of this revolution. And then after that, we saw what happened, the chaotic violence, the releasing of convicts, the removal of the police force, and then betting that the army would use violence, and luckily they did not. And if Egyptian people can go through this and succeed and oust this repressive dictator, I think the rest of the Arab world will try also to follow the model. We see now already this wave reaching the shores of Algeria, reaching also Jordan and Yemen, and we don't know who's next. And at that point, we really have to evaluate all our expectations regarding the Middle East and the transformation to democracy in the Middle East and North Africa.
Now, Hosni Mubarak was seen as one of the strongest leaders in the Middle East. He'd been in power for about 30 years and seemed to have ruled with a very, very tight grip. Now, the rest of the leaders in the region, many of them who have been facing similar and smaller protests, how do you think they're going to view his resignation or being pushed out? And what moves do you think they'll be making next to try and secure their positions?
I think they will try to preempt that by a wave of reforms, but now we passed the level of reforms. Now we're talking about change, and by change we mean the democratization, building genuine democratic institutions, having a transparent, accountable government, having a peaceful alternation of power. Citizens should be empowered regardless of their background, tribe, class, religion. All this should be pushed aside, and the citizen should have actually a direct vote in politics. And I think this is the real change in the Middle East. This is away from the reform packages. And I think the other strategy that they may employ is the repressive tactics. We hear already that Algeria now is, or Algiers, the capital of Algeria, is heavily, there's a heavy security presence in it, and also in Jordan and in Yemen. So it will be this package of carrot and stick that we saw the Mubarak regime employ with the Egyptians, promising them that he will increase the salaries and the pension, at the same time cracking down hard on them by the Central Security Forces and then those hired thugs. And those tactics, obviously, in the Egyptian case, they failed. In the Tunisian case, they failed. We will see what happens with the rest of the Arab world, but it's a big message to the Arab rulers that their people want back their dignity, want back their freedoms. Staying under the repressive rulerships is unacceptable by the overwhelming majority of their people, and unless there is a real and genuine reformation process, a real and genuine democratization process, I think we will see what happened in Tunisia and Egypt being copied in other Arab countries.
Omar Ashour with a very interesting view on the domino effect of these protests. Omar Ashour is a lecturer at the University of Exeter. Thank you very much. Well, the last 24 hours have been a roller coaster ride in the country, and let's take you through what's been happening. Anger continued on the streets after Hosni Mubarak's announcement on Thursday, just about 24 hours ago, that he was going to stay on as president. Then at 6 in the evening, Vice President Omar Suleiman